does a city change when sidewalks house thousands beneath tents and overpasses crowded? Serving as California's capital, Sacramento bears the load of leadership, yet falters beneath homelessness, worsened by the ongoing fentanyl epidemic statewide today. This extends beyond a local concern. It mirrors the wider struggle of homeless in America, where lives continue slipping away through systemic breakdowns. Every encampment beside the American River contains accounts of suffering and strength. On this journey, we examine the crisis's roots, face addiction's shadow, and consider meaningful, lasting solutions together. Can Sacramento shape a future where all residents have somewhere safe to call home? Together, let us pursue answers. The scope of the emergency lies behind the statistics. Sacramento's roadsides tell a painful narrative of endurance loss and daily hardship. In 2024, California accounts for nearly 1/3 of the country's homeless population, with over 770,000 individuals without stable housing, a troubling 18% rise from the year before. Cities such as Sacramento, San Francisco, and Oakland sit on the front lines of this emergency, where thousands survive in tents, vehicles, or improvised shelters beneath highways. These figures are not abstract data. They represent real people, each carrying a personal history. Consider Maria, a single mother who once worked as a nurse. Escalating living costs cost her employment, and she now lives in a deteriorating van with her young daughter. Or John, a construction laborer whose fentanyl addiction pushed him onto the streets, where hopes for a better future were shattered by the realities of survival. These individual experiences mirror the wider truth of homeless in America, a crisis that continues to intensify.
Well, when I first became homeless, I was camping out in front of the parole office on North 12, and right across the street from those fishes. Yeah. So that's probably where I'll be, or I'll probably be moving around because, I couldn't find a stable spot. Right. Cops would tell me to move, or, I'll be in violation of Paladin security or whatever. So.
Well, it's like hot weather, lugging everything in that you need to eat or drink, going to do laundry somewhere else, going to the bathroom. Wherever. Some people like to find the toilet outside, some dig a hole. Personally, I go to the casino and go to the bathroom. If I don't make it, I have to dig a hole like everybody else.
In Sacramento, public areas that once pulsed with activity now contain vast encampments, prompting worries about health, safety, and crime. The city stands divided. Some residents respond with compassion, providing food and assistance, while others demand encampment removals, angered by needles and debris scattered through their communities. The strain is unmistakable. How can empathy be balanced with the need for safety and order? California's homelessness rate at 367 per 100,000 residents ranks among the nation's highest. Sacramento reflects this stark condition. This emergency is not only about statistics. It concerns lives upended by financial strain, addiction, and systemic breakdowns. Families, veterans, and young people form a varied, unhoused population, each bearing a distinct story of loss and endurance. Sacramento's challenge echoes a broader national epidemic that casts a dark shadow over the American dream. The origins of the crisis, a converging storm. To grasp the foundations of Sacramento's homelessness crisis, we must examine where economic strain, social pressures, and policy breakdowns converge, leaving thousands without secure housing. One central force is the critical lack of affordable homes. From 2020 to 2025, median rent in Sacramento surged by 20%, forcing low-income households to the edge. Soaring inflation paired with job losses in industries such as retail and hospitality has further weakened financial security. For many residents, the loss of a single paycheck is enough to push them from housed to unhoused. This affordability emergency is not limited to Sacramento. It forms part of a wider pattern fueling the homelessness epidemic across America. Yet economics alone cannot explain the full picture. Policy shortcomings have also had a deep impact. State programs like Home Key, which transforms hotels into temporary housing, have offered limited relief. Still, these efforts remain far too small to address the scale of need. A 2024 Supreme Court decision in Grants Pass versus Johnson intensified the situation, granting cities like Sacramento Authority to criminalize sleeping in public areas. Although municipalities now possess legal power to dismantle encampments, the ruling introduces serious moral questions. With shelter beds and permanent housing in short supply, where are displaced people meant to go? Opponents contend that the ruling penalizes survival rather than confronting homelessness at its core. Social dynamics further worsen the crisis. Natural disasters, including floods and wildfires, have uprooted many Californians, some of whom ultimately arrive in Sacramento. Mental illness and substance use, especially fentanyl addiction, trap others in cycles that make exiting homelessness extremely difficult. Poverty and addiction reinforce one another, forming a destructive loop that resists easy solutions. Under the shadow of fentanyl, a crisis inside another. Within Sacramento's homelessness emergency, an even more troubling force looms: fentanyl. This synthetic opioid, estimated to be 50 to 100 times more potent than heroin, has spread rapidly, taking lives and deepening the despair experienced by people living unhoused. In 2024, Sacramento recorded hundreds of fentanyl-related overdose deaths, many involving individuals surviving on the streets. Inexpensive, widely available, and intensely addictive fentanyl has embedded itself in encampments along the American River and throughout downtown corridors. Abandoned syringes and the steady loss of life from overdoses stand as stark reminders of the drug's unforgiving hold.
Not with that alone, but we're opiate addicts, so we shoot. Around here it's fentanyl. We shoot fentanyl. The fentanyl is gonna put you out, and this is kind of gonna bring you up.
Is it hard to find that, or?
That's why you see so many drug addicts around here. It's on every corner, pretty much.
For many individuals, fentanyl is not only a consequence of homelessness, it is also a driving cause, forming a brutal cycle that ensnares those already facing severe hardship. The effect of fentanyl on Sacramento's unhoused community has been devastating. Take David, a former auto mechanic who lost his job during the pandemic and turned to fentanyl to dull feelings of anxiety and personal failure. The substance quickly consumed his life, and today David lives in a tent near the river as his health and sense of hope steadily decline. Dependence on fentanyl, like other opioids, creates enormous barriers to entering housing programs or securing employment. Emergency services, already under strain, are overwhelmed by overdose calls, pushing first responders to their limits. This escalating public health emergency also intensifies frustration among residents, as used needles and drug debris increasingly appear in parks and along sidewalks. How can Sacramento extend hope to those trapped by fentanyl while also responding to the fear and anger of housed neighbors? Attempts to slow fentanyl's spread in Sacramento reveal both progress and serious gaps. Groups such as the Harm Reduction Coalition supply Narcan, an overdose reversal medication, and offer clean needles to reduce disease transmission. Yet these initiatives are consistently underfunded and reach only a small portion of the population in need. Shelters and treatment facilities across the city struggle to meet demand, leaving many individuals cycling repeatedly between street encampments and short-term shelter stays without lasting stability. The fentanyl epidemic underscores a harsh reality. Addressing homelessness requires confronting addiction directly, but funding and political commitment remain inadequate. Ongoing responses, a fragmented approach. As Sacramento struggles with its homelessness, emergency intensified by the fentanyl crisis, city and state authorities have rolled out a series of responses, some encouraging, others falling short. In 2024, Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order requiring the removal of homeless encampments from public property, a mandate Sacramento has enforced aggressively. Law enforcement and city crews have dismantled tents along the American River and in downtown zones, frequently citing concerns over health and safety. However, these clearances, while briefly restoring order, seldom create long-term change. Those displaced often move to different parts of the city, losing possessions and further eroding trust in public institutions. Where does one go when the system appears to push people even further to the edges? Local programs offer moments of optimism. Initiatives such as CalAIM use Medi-Cal funding to deliver housing support and health care, including substance use treatment to unhoused individuals. In Sacramento, several former hotels have been repurposed into temporary shelters, providing refuge for dozens of families. Nonprofit organizations, including the Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services, supply meals, clothing, and Narcan to counter fentanyl overdoses. Yet these services operate under constant strain. CalAIM faces possible federal funding reductions in 2026, putting its future reach at risk. Shelter space remains limited, and treatment beds for addiction are critically insufficient. The city's overall response, though driven by good intentions, resembles a patchwork quilt, effective in places but full of gaps. At the state level, legislative actions such as Senate Bill 634, introduced in February 2025 by Senator Sasha Renee Perez, seek to safeguard the rights of unhoused people. The proposal aims to curb the criminalization of basic survival behaviors, like sleeping outdoors in the wake of the Supreme Court's Grants Pass versus Johnson decision. Supporters view it as a move toward compassion, ensuring individuals are not penalized simply for being without housing. Opponents argue it sidesteps core problems, housing scarcity and addiction, leaving cities like Sacramento torn between care and enforcement. Meanwhile, in November 2024, voters approved a contentious ballot initiative that raised penalties for drug offenses and required treatment for repeat offenders. Specialists question whether it will work, warning that without strong housing and rehabilitation systems, such policies may deepen cycles of incarceration and homelessness. Community involvement adds another dimension. Volunteers and faith-based groups across Sacramento provide food blankets and counseling, often bridging gaps left by government efforts. At the same time, some residents voice anger, citing needles and crime as reasons to focus on clearing encampments rather than expanding aid. This split highlights a larger dilemma, weighing immediate neighborhood concerns against lasting solutions. Sacramento's response, though wide-ranging, lacks the unity required to confront a crisis of this scale. The fentanyl epidemic especially calls for integrated approaches, linking housing treatment and prevention, yet true coordination remains frustratingly out of reach. A way forward courageous, answers for a failing system. To confront the connected crises of homelessness and fentanyl addiction in Sacramento, decisive and forward-thinking solutions are required. The city must move past short-term responses and commit to strategies that address both underlying causes and urgent realities. One encouraging option is rethinking housing itself. The tiny home village concept has shown success in places like Austin, Texas, where small, affordable homes combined with on-site services such as addiction care and job training have reduced street homelessness. Sacramento could adapt this model by partnering with private builders, nonprofits, and public agencies to develop thousands of affordable units. Doing so would mean pushing through political barriers, including zoning limits and NIMBY, not in my backyard resistance, but the long-term gains measured in lives stabilized and pressure eased on public systems could be profound. Just as critical is a broad, coordinated approach to addiction treatment. Sacramento must expand access to fentanyl treatment, increasing inpatient bed availability and widening the distribution of life-saving tools like Narcan. Mobile clinics could bring treatment and support directly to encampments, lowering barriers for those seeking help. Job training initiatives designed for people in recovery could help restore stability and allow individuals to re-enter society with purpose. Any serious response to addiction must also include mental health care, since trauma often sits at the core of both substance use and homelessness. Programs such as California's Home Key offer a foundation, but they require stronger funding and tighter integration with wraparound services to form a real safety net. Shifting how the public views unhoused people is another vital step. Awareness efforts like fentanyl doesn't define them could reduce stigma and encourage seeing the homeless as neighbors who need support, not as problems to remove. Local businesses could be motivated to back recovery programs or provide employment opportunities to those rebuilding their lives, reinforcing shared community responsibility. Technology can also contribute. AI tools could help identify overdose-prone areas, allowing resources to be deployed more effectively, while blockchain systems could improve transparency in how aid funds are spent. These ideas may sound ambitious, but they are achievable if Sacramento is willing to innovate. The deeper question remains, when will the city fully acknowledge that its unhoused residents are not liabilities, but people capable of rebuilding their lives with the right support? Sacramento already has the tools it now needs, the resolve to use them. A personal reflection, at the core of it all. As I observe Sacramento struggling with its homelessness crisis, I'm struck by a profound sense of contradiction. This is a city rich in history and full of promise, yet it remains weighed down by widespread human suffering. The homelessness emergency intensified by fentanyl addiction is not simply the outcome of ineffective policies. It reflects a deeper breakdown in our shared sense of responsibility. Walking through neighborhoods filled with encampments, I don't just notice rows of tents. I see human lives stories marked by loss resilience and unrealized potential that has slipped from view. The overwhelming numbers, 770,000 unhoused people nationwide, and hundreds of overdose deaths in Sacramento can numb our emotions. But when you meet the eyes of those living outdoors, the humanity behind the statistics becomes impossible to ignore. Every interaction on these streets reinforces that this crisis is not theoretical. It is deeply personal. I've spoken with people like Maria, who once held steady employment before a medical crisis upended her life, or James, whose substance use spiraled after a devastating family loss. They are not anonymous figures. They are our neighbors, each carrying hopes and hardships we may never fully understand. Yet Sacramento often answers this reality with short-term measures, encampment sweeps, that scatter people or policies focused more on appearances than results. Such responses overlook the true drivers of the crisis: the lack of affordable housing, insufficient mental health care, and the tightening grip of the opioid epidemic. What's needed is a fundamental shift, investing in permanent supportive housing, broadening access to addiction treatment, and building job pathways that restore dignity. This shift demands more than money. It requires a collective awakening and a willingness to recognize every person as part of the city's shared fabric. By choosing compassion over detachment, Sacramento can move toward a future where no one is treated as disposable. The possibility exists, but it requires urgency, empathy, and the courage to heal the city from within. I believe the solution to this crisis begins with courage, the courage to rethink how homelessness is addressed. It means prioritizing housing investments instead of relying on sweeps that displace people without offering stability. It means understanding addiction as an illness that calls for care and treatment, not punishment, through the justice system. Above all, it means seeing every unhoused individual as a neighbor worthy of dignity, respect, and meaningful support. Sacramento possesses the resources, imagination, and compassion needed to lead the way out of this crisis. The true obstacle is not capacity, but political resolve. We must change how we think and be willing to act boldly. Though overwhelming, this crisis also offers a rare chance for the city to redefine what community truly means, one that protects its most vulnerable, lifts them up, and ensures no one is forgotten. The moment to act is now driven not by pity, but by a moral responsibility to those who need help the most. Conclusion. Sacramento stands at a defining crossroads. The homelessness emergency, fueled by fentanyl and systemic breakdowns, requires far more than temporary solutions. It demands meaningful transformation. With options like tiny home communities, addiction treatment, community-based outreach, and emerging technologies, the tools to create change already exist. The real question is whether Sacramento and the nation as a whole will choose compassion over convenience and lasting solutions over misplaced blame. We have a chance to build a future where no one is left behind, and where everyone has a safe place to call home. Let's unite to turn that vision into reality. If this cause matters to you, like, share, and subscribe to stay informed and engaged. Your voice can help drive the change we urgently need.